Hey guys, and today I'm coming to you with the third installment of our WordPress theming series. Now, as you know, in this series I'm redesigning my personal site and opening the curtains so you can see how I'm working and get some insight on WordPress theming. A lot of people have asked for it, so I'm finally doing it. As I've said in the previous two videos, it's such a detailed process that I'm having to split this into several videos. And the last video was like 24 minutes, and the video before was an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm trying to split it up into manageable chunks, but be prepared for a long video. But hopefully there's some detail in there that will help you out. I'm also not gonna rehash what I talked about in the previous videos. Otherwise, this video will be even longer. So there'll be a playlist with all these videos in them. So go back and check that and check out the first video for more on what we've done in the past. But we're just gonna carry on from there. So make sure you watch the previous videos before watching this one. Okay, so with that said, we're gonna look at what we need to do next on our site. And a lot of what we need to do next is very subjective, because there's no real necessary order to it. But looking at this, I thought there was one thing we need to deal with first, to see if I go into a post that has lots of list items in it, they don't respect the margin and padding we have set up in our reset. They're chunked together now. Those are actually two separate list items, so we need to make the styling reflect that. That's one of the disadvantages of using a reset, because if you're going to set zero margin and padding for each thing, you have to override that for each individual element. So we're just going to go back into our theme, and I have it open here. So instead of just play with the line height of that, we're set. We're going to set to include list items, because that's what they are. We're also going to set that to include list items. So now each list item should be separated out a little bit. Go ahead and refresh. And yes, they are. There's a bit more just distinct there now, so that looks better. The next thing I think we're going to do is muscle this comment system into shape. There's comments on these posts, but they're not showing up because we haven't written any code for that yet. I did some research, and if we look in the content for the blank theme, which is something, again, I took that in previous video, the stuff for the comment system is all in its own file. I personally think that because we're only going to be using this once on this single .php file, I don't think it's necessarily having include for each the comment.php file, but I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but we're definitely going to snag some code from there. So the first thing we are going to do is go into a single.php file and take out this call for the comment form, because we don't want to call that individually. Really, I've decided we are gonna make another template, because that's kind of the WordPress mantras. So we're gonna follow that. So the function to call, if I remember right, is comments template. Preserve that and refresh. Nothing will happen because there isn't a comments template. So we're gonna create it. Comments.php, and in this file we now have access to all of the awesome stuff in the WordPress commenting system. That's got its own variables, which, as I said in the previous videos, can be found in the links down below. What we're going to do is look in the comments file for the blank theme which I showed you, and copy a lot out from there. So I'm not going to write this bit from scratch necessarily. I think what we're going to do is copy the entire thing, refresh it, check that it works, and then modify it from there. So we're just going to copy that and paste it in there. So it looks like the template isn't even included on our page, and we've got so let's try and work out what's gone wrong there. Single.php, comments template, let's try again. Yeah, so we are getting the comments now. We're gonna muscle these into shape by going into that file that we just copied and editing some stuff. So if we look at what's included in this and what's outputting what. Again, this is the way I normally work, so I'm letting you guys into the process here. Make that a little smaller. This is good because we can look at the code and see what effects we're having without having to flip between windows. So let's look at what's outputting what down in this comments area. I don't want to show how many responses got, because I think you can see how many responses it's got. So I don't think you need that 2 responses bit. So first of all, we're going to work out what's outputting that. We've got this H2 with an ID of comments. For one thing, I don't see the need for an ID. So we're going to get rid of that because I'm not going to target that heading independently. So there's dynamically generated thing that shows how many responses there is. We're just going to hard code something. Your responses. Go over. Refresh. Reload the page, and there we have it. Your responses. So you see the philosophy there. As you've seen in previous tutorials, I've written most of this code. But if you're gonna copy code, then you should just work out what's outputting what and work from there. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here for outputting comments, comment responses. For one thing, I want comments to be in an unordered list, not an ordered list. So I'm going to change this call to be unordered list. That's going to cause its own problems, but we'll rectify them as we go. I don't see the comments. I need the comment to be in order. So and as I suspected, indeed that has created its own problems. But I think it will rectify that later on. So the first thing we're going to take out is this previous comment and next comment. There's 2 sets of these, one at the top and one at the bottom. I'm only going to have them at the bottom, so we're going to take those out. I'm not going to worry in my set about closing comments on posts. I don't close comments on posts; they're always open. So there's ability to close the ability to comment on a post after a certain amount of time, but I don't use that. So we're just gonna kill that. So we're gonna get rid of all these if statements. So it's going to check if we've got comments, and if we have, it's going to print out a thing with your responses, create an ordered list with the comments, and create a way for us to page through them. That looks like a pretty clean comment system to me. So nothing should change, but we've just cleaned up the markup a bit. and let's see what else we can take out. For one thing, I don't require registration to post comments, so we're gonna take that out. Again, code that won't have any effect on what it looks like, but it'll be clean and markup. We're gonna take this whole PHP statement out because we don't need it. It's basically for if anyone tries to load the post individually or tries to or there's a password required for this post, but I never use that, so there's no need for that. Again, nothing should have changed. But it did, so let's see what we did wrong there. We're gonna leave the top bit in, but we can definitely get rid of the bottom part. Because, like I said, I don't use the password protecting. But I think this bit is just to check that the comments PHP file exists, so we better leave that in. And it's still not back. Let's see what else we did wrong. I'm gonna go by process of elimination here, and we're just gonna take out the
It's 13:30.
well, for one thing, we're gonna check that we can still see it's stopped working completely now. Let's see if that. There's no look there. We're gonna leave the comments PHP file for now and move on to something else and address that later. What we're gonna tackle now is the general layout, because I want this to be a true colour layout. I mean, we've got a sidebar or PHP file, so obviously we're gonna have a sidebar. So let's look at how that's gonna work. So we're gonna carve this area up into a sidebar and a main content area. So let's start doing that. Make this a little bigger again so we've got more real estate to work with. I'm just going to minimize that for a second. And this is just going to be standard CSS stuff, nothing particularly specific to WordPress. So we're gonna carve up this area. So we're gonna create a new selector that says anything with an ID of main content section. And we have to choose how much out of this 1050 total space we want to give the main content section. So for the minute, and this is probably going to change, I'm just going to say 70%. And we're going to float it to the left because we want it to be on the left. I'm going to put another call for this sidebar. It's going to take up the remaining portion of the width, so it's going to be 30%. Floated to the right. We're gonna add another call for the footer because you need to clear float. Which again, this is just standard CSS stuff. If you don't understand what clear and float is, then just check my check my channel. I've got another series on that. So you can say clear both. Save that. And jump back to our site. And nothing changes. Let's see what we did wrong. Oh, I get it. We didn't give the aside an ID of sidebar, and that's what we used to target it. Because it's an aside, so we get the kind of idea that it's extra content. We're gonna give it an ID of info, because it's just going to carry general info about the site. So we're gonna change our target to reflect that. Which you can say anything with an ID of info. Give it that styling because that's the sidebar. And I don't think we've actually got an element yet that is classed as the main content section. So we need to create that. I think for now we can probably get away with putting that in our header.php file and having it included on every page. So we've got a trailing URL tag there. I didn't notice that. So we're just gonna put div ID main content section. And then it's gonna wrap our main content. So we're gonna put it in the footer.php file because it's gonna wrap everything that's in. So we've got two divs we need to close. Actually, I didn't realise the wrapper wasn't closed. So inside of the body tag, we're just going to put closing div, and then inside of that, I'm going to put another closing div to close our main content section. So we're now closing our main content as well as our wrapper. Go over and refresh that, and we've still not got the result we wanted. Oh, because we didn't save our changes to the header.php file. Let's try again. Refresh our page. We've now got that, but we don't have a footer element. So we targeted the footer, which is a HTML file element, but I forgot that we didn't have a footer element, so it's not clearing. And because we're using HTML5, we didn't need to target an ID of footer, we can just target the footer. So we're going to go into our footer.php file, and outside the main content section but still inside the wrapper, we're just going to put footer, and then that way the layout will have something to clear on. Yeah, so now we've got our main content section and room for our sidebar. It's starting to look more and more like a blog all the time. So the next thing we're going to do is, because we're using all these HTML5 elements, certain versions of Internet Explorer don't support HTML5 elements. It supports elements it doesn't know about because it just displays them, but our CSS won't take. So what we need to do is add a bit of JavaScript to our page, provided by Google to allow IE to see those elements. So we're just gonna Google it, and it's called HTML5 shiv. And it's a fancy bit of JavaScript that makes HTML5 work in all the browsers. So this is all we need to put in. IE 9 doesn't support it, so we just need to link it directly from there. We're just going to whack that in our header.php file and then just be done with it and use HTML5 happily ever after. So we're going to clean up our area here. That's something I do periodically. Close files we're not using, otherwise it gets a bit unwieldy. We're not using this. Here we are in our header. So where you normally embed JavaScript, you do it after CSS. And we're just going to paste in I'll include that, and that'll just deal with HTML5 even back to IE6. So it'll just recognise our elements, and there won't be a problem now because that's JavaScript in browsers that don't have JavaScript enabled and don't support HTML5. Our website will look terrible, but 90-something% of the web has JavaScript enabled, and this particular website is for a savvy audience. So I don't have a problem with relying on HTML5 for this site, but it is an important consideration. So we're going to save that, and nothing will change because our browser supports HTML5 elements, because this is only targeting IE and we're in Firefox. So nothing is going to change, but we're going to know that we're supporting all the browsers at least to some degree. So I think we go back to our site. What we should concentrate on now is these comments and how we're gonna just. I'll just have to go a minute. Apologies for that awkward stop, but I had to deal with something important. Anyway, as I was saying, we're gonna muscle the comments into shape. A lot of using CSS, not a lot about WordPress, but it's still important. So, we're gonna actually, I've got this web developer toolbar which I use sometimes, and I think we'll use now. We can write CSS to affect the page and see the effect on the page as we go along. So I think we'll use that now. So you see, we've got access to our CSS file, but we can see the effect right as it happens. So we're just gonna figure out what minimize that for a second. We're just gonna figure out what encapsulates these comments, and we can do that using Firebug. So it's an unordered list as we looked at, and each one's got inside a list item. It's also inside the div, but we don't really need to worry about that. We can just target this list item. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and do that. So it's a list item, and we'll just use this class of comment. We might use these other classes later, but for now we'll just use this class of comment. First we're going to type the comment list. And we're gonna turn off the bullet, so we're just gonna say list style none. And for some reason that didn't work, so let's figure out why. We've still got a stray bullet there. Oh, because I spelled this here, that's probably wrong. You guys probably saw that ages before I did, but that just means we're still going to have the benefit of having it in an unordered list, but it's just going to get rid of the bullets. So we can just target the comment list. Let's make some kind of boxes for these comments just to encapsulate them. So we're gonna target the comments themselves. Just for now, I'm gonna say border. One pix. Solid black. And on our list elements are block level elements, so we need to no, sorry, they're inline elements. So in order for it to have a border, we need to set it to I targeted the wrong thing again. Comment list, not comment. So we've now got that working. We're gonna add some padding to it because the comment's a bit close to the border. Let's try 10 pixels. Yeah, that looks better. We're also going to add some top and bottom margin because remember there could be multiple comments on a single post. So we're just going to add. We don't want any margin on the left and right, but we're just going to put 5 pixels top and bottom. And 0 pixels left and right. So we've got some nice comment styling to start us off. I think we're gonna copy that into our real CSS file and go ahead. This is good for writing little snippets of CSS, but when you need to save it, it's better to go back and so we're going to put it at the bottom of the CSS file. Close that for now. Come back, refresh, and yeah, it's still taking. So that worked. One thing is, on my website, I'm not. People aren't going to be able to log into it, so they're not going to have. Most of them aren't going to have pictures. There was some situation where you could, but I'm going to get rid of that default picture because, again, most people aren't going to have pictures. So we're going to go back into our comments.php and figure out where the picture is output to do. It's going to be somewhere before all this form where the comments are shown. So it's just done with this list comment function. So we're gonna go to the page and see how we figure out how to exclude stuff from display. And we're using WP list comments. And there's some sort. On second thought, I think we might have to call the comment object individually, because there's too many things I want to change that can't be handled with this WP list comments function. So we're going to call things like comment text or author name, things like that, and we're going to do all that individually so we can have absolute control of what is being outputted. So we're going to come back to our file. I'm going to momentarily and now we need to figure out how to print out comments individually. So each comment is going to be a list item. So what do we want to show? We want to show who posted the comment, when they posted it, and the text of the comment. Well, what we don't want to show is the avatar. I could just disable that in the CSS, but the HTML would still be there, so it would get messy. So I think it's better to do it this way, just print out stuff individually. But now we need to figure out how that works.
It's 14 hours.
What about this get comments function? What does that do? Yeah, so it returns an array of elements. That's what we want. So it returns all the stuff we're going to need. So let's go and look about how to add that. So we're just going to copy their example and use that as a place to start. So what it's going to do here is it's going to echo for each loop. We're going to get a for each loop with the stuff for the comments in it. But it's set right now in the example that they used to output the comments from post 13. How do we do it so we do that dynamically? Well, to get the content of the current post, I think all we need to do is go we need to close out that. Close out that comment and append to it. I'm gonna append to it whatever the post ID is. So what this is going to do, hopefully, is posts in WordPress all have IDs, and what this is going to do is it's going to find out what the ID is for the post that the user's on, and it's going to get the comments for that post. So let's see if this works. We're going to come back over to our page and refresh. Yes, it's for each comment. We told it in this example to only output our author description, so it's only giving us the author for each comment, but we've successfully changed the example so that it outputs the stuff for that specific comment, not a generically coded comment. So now we need to alter what we want to be outputted for each person. So this for each comment as comments has made comments an object. So we can pull things out of that object now, such as the comment author. A full list of things that we can pull out, which we will be needing, is on there the arguments you can pass in. So we've got the comment author. What else do we want? Well, normally in WordPress, because you have the option submit your website, and it's common practice to link the author URL to the website we're gonna do. So we're not just gonna output the comment author. What we're gonna output is we're gonna completely change this for each leaf. Actually, we're not gonna end it there. We're gonna end it there so we can write HTML in between it. Then we can go and for each, so we can add in whatever HTML we want in between it. So now we're gonna target the different stuff. So we want to create a link. Oh no, actually first we want to check if the user has entered a URL, because obviously that's not a required thing. So we don't want an empty link if the user hasn't entered a URL. Hold on, just let me think how we're gonna do this, because we want the user's name to show up, but we don't want it to be linked if the user hasn't entered a URL. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna check if the user hasn't entered a URL. And we're gonna do that by, sorry, I just opened Safari. How we're gonna do that is by passing it in comment author URL, and we're gonna see if that exists. And it's part of the comment object, so we're gonna pass it this is general PHP stuff. And we've said return each comment as comment, so that's where we're getting information from. And then the proprietary thing that it gave us was comment author URL. So if that existed, if it was equal to anything, then we want to do something. And what we want to do is echo out an A tag with the href of whatever this author URL is. We can just copy that. So we basically say, if it exists, put it in a link. PHP echo So it's going to put the person's link into URL, but only if it has one. And then as for the actual link text, we're just going to put whatever else it has first, comment author, to output the actual author's name. We're just going to paste in what we had before, but this time it's going to be comment author. And guys, and many minutes later, I'm back. It took me ages to work out what was the matter. So it does the same job as what we talked about. Only the way it's outputting it is a little bit different. You can look at the code, and this is just for the author to work out whether they have a URL or not, and respond accordingly. But the other aspects won't be as complicated as this. So it checks if the author has a URL. If they do, it prints out a link. If they don't, it prints out a text response. The thing we need to do that I noticed is you see all these author names, and that's right. All we're outputting at the moment is the author. You can see how it's all within one big list item, and you can see in effect here how some people don't have the links because they don't have URLs. But you can see how it's all in one big list item. We want each comment to be in separate list items, so we're just going to do that by putting the list item in our for each loop. So it won't just generate a list item; it will generate a list item for each thing, as the name implies. So we're just going to put this inside our for each loop, and then each time it finds a comment, it will then output an individual list item, which is what we wanted. But I just put the list item call in the wrong place, so we're just going to do it after the start of our for each loop. And then inside of that list item is where all the stuff for an individual comment is going to go. So that's good, but we've still just got the author printing out. There was some other things we need to print. So let's next figure out how to do that. So that's all the stuff for our author. So we're going to leave that in one big block of code. What else do we want? For one thing, we want the content of their comment. And in order that we work out how to output that, we'll just go back to our template files. One thing, we'll refresh the page and see the effect of putting our list item in our for each loop. And we forgot to save the file. Go back over refresh, and now there's a space for each individual comment, and in this case this post has many spam comments, but we don't just want the effort. That's no good to us really. And so now let's figure out how to output the comment text, and it's gonna be as part of this get comment function. So you see all the stuff we can output and thus do logic behind, but we're not going to do that for now. Before outputting the content, we're going to output the date that it was posted. So there's the year, month, day, and then the hour, minute, and second. So let's try this. We'll put it in a time field. We'll put the date in the date field because that's what the date items for in HTML5. It doesn't look like there is a date field, so we'll just put it all in a time field. And I think we'll have that. We'll leave it. We'll leave it there for now. So we're just gonna say I didn't mean to do that. PHP echo comment, and in this case it's not the overt publish, it's the comment date. Save that. Come over here, let's refresh our page. And now we've got the time and the date that all comments were posted. You can change that inside of WordPress. So let's just output the content, and I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. So we're just below the author details and the time it was posted, we're just going to put PHP echo comments. And what part of the comment do we want this time? Well, it's the comment. Content. So we should now actually see the comments themselves. And we do. So they're a bit messed up at the moment, but we'll sort that out in the next tutorial. So like I say, we're gonna end this tutorial here. Make sure you tune in for the next one where we'll be wrapping up the process. This was a particularly long one, but we started to write the output of the comment system and got into some quite complex stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you tune in for the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.